it was that windy that just sat up on the bike. I was getting blown to the side of the road.
Right.
So I couldn't get out of the saddle because otherwise I'd have just gone. So I was like Caleb Ewan sprinting. I was in the drops, head like that. And because it was that dark and I only had my dynamo light on, I couldn't see
light kept dipping.
I couldn't see where top at climb was. So I didn't know how long I had to go. And I'm just like, the fuck's that? And I'm screaming and shouting and going mad like. And it was brilliant. It was the hardest climb I've ever done. You know what I mean? I've done a few, like, you know.
The ones I've seen on that kind of really, that I kind of saw and I thought these are going to, especially if they don't know the area, was the one heading up to Mellor, coming up at the pub, coming off the A59 after Ribchester.
Yeah.
Because that just doesn't. If you don't know that hill, it goes on for a lot longer than you expect. Yeah. And it's got a bit of
that little one in Norwich.
Foxholes Road.
Oh, you love that. I did that on Recce.
Yeah.
Because
I've actually removed that from this way.
Oh, you couldn't go down
backwards.
That?
No, especially because it's single track road and you're near the end of the ride and you'll be tired. I just thought, no way, can't. That is too... So they go down Chorley Old Road this time.
When I did Recce, I went pretty much all the way up Chorley Old Road thinking I'll go it right way.
Yeah.
And then I was like, off course? What do you mean off course? There's only this way you can go. So I turns back down like, so it's this little road. I'm thinking, nah. So I went down, and then when I started it, because when you get through that where all houses are, and then there's just like that little path bit, isn't there?
Yeah.
And when I got to that bit, I was thinking, this is just rude. You know what I mean? This is just rude. You know, I'm loving it. You know? And I'm thinking, there's going to be people that are doing this when they set off, and they're going to get to this point, and they're going to be like, fuck, I'm done. I'm fucking had enough of this already.
That Hard Not Pass was done on purpose. Foxholes Road was definitely done on purpose.
Oh, it's proper rude, that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's a rude ride.
Yeah.
People don't enter that ride because
no.
So, anyway, the camera is rolling. Do you want to... It's alright, I just want to catch some bits while you were talking, that was brilliant. Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, I'm Fuzz Kit, Preston, born and bred. Just love riding my bike, love a climb, love a long ride, and love the L in the Northwest.
So what made you enter it the first time?
First time, when I saw it, it was... I'd done TCR 7 in 2019, got smashed to bits in Slovenia by a car and had to scratch. So it was my first big thing since then. When I saw it, saw the distance for 840 odd k, that's doable, no problem. Saw the climbing, 14,000 metres, I thought, yeah man, that's going to be the thing that's going to test you. I had no qualms about the distance, I can do that, that's no worries. But to climb that amount of climbing, that amount of elevation, over a short period of time, over a couple of days, I thought, well, that's hardcore, that's going to test me, and I wanted to see if I still mentally had what I had when I went into doing TCR, so that's why I entered it. And like I say, I've done Fred Whitton a few times, so it was the lakes bit was the reverse bit, of Fred Whitton essentially, and I've never liked the descents, and when I've descended on Fred Whitton I've always thought, well, I wouldn't mind going up that way. So it gave me the perfect opportunity to, and especially when you've got 500k in your legs or something like that, 400k in your legs, it's bound to be fun, isn't it?
It is. So what, for the people that are signed up for this year, or the people that signed up for last year but decided after watching the weather forecast not to enter October's, which we will get to later, but for those that are going to ride this for the first time, what would be your 3 top bits of advice for them?
Don't bother with a sleeping bag or all like that. Just take some tracky pants, you know what I mean, and put them on when you're sat in bus stops. Eating, you've got to eat. That was the thing for me, was eating, finding places to get food. So I'd take a stash. I took second time round, I took a stash in my rucksack, for getting stuck. again, when I get to shops, instead of just buying a pasty for my dinner, I'd clean the stock out and stick it in my rucksack. Again, water. I've just bought a Catadine B-free water filter thing, so I can drink out of muddy puddles and streams with rotting, and streams with rotting carcasses in. You know what I mean? I'm all right now, so I'm not worried about water anymore. Just enjoy it. There were bits where I couldn't enjoy it because I was just in zone, and I didn't take a camera. You know, but there was some scenes where there was one stretch. It was around Artside, and it was a wide road, big trees, like avenue of trees, but the entire road was covered in leaves, and it was just, you know, I'm riding along thinking I'm in a dreamland. You know, this is just unbelievable. You know, so I wish I'd have just took a bit of time to enjoy the views a bit more. So yeah, fueling, enjoying it. And just tap it out on climbs. Some of the climbs you can't just tap it out of. You've got to get out at saddle and you've got to give it some grunt. Malin-Moor, loved that climb though, to be fair. There was one, I can't remember where it was. It was like a little main road, and there's like a little village, and you cross the main road, and then you went off. And it was just like that for ages, and it's just a little like single track. You know, and I was cursing you quite a bit, you know what I mean? Thinking, this is just, you know what I mean? It's got to the worst bit was the back end after Ingleton Falls. Yeah. Because I had it tuned in my brain that I'm just going on main road back from like Hornby. I'm going up main road there. Littledale's bound to be in it, so I was expecting Littledale, but there were all these little tiny and I was probably going mad at that point, kicking off. You know what I mean?
It's a nasty end to the ride, actually.
It was.
Jubilee Hill, to be honest, like I've climbed that a few times, and when I put that in, so as the third climb from the end, I thought, ouch, guys.
Waddy from that side as well.
Yeah, the 14% ramp.
Not much fun.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, you've really got to dig.
Yeah.
You've got to do a lot of digging at that point. Trough though is beautiful that side.
In pitch black, it's not as great. Like it was.
You don't know when it's going to end.
Yeah, it's about 6 o'clock. You know what I mean? When I got there, and again that descent going down to Sykes Farm. Again, if you get that wrong on trough, you can be in trouble. Yeah. Right? And in dark, I was a bit twitchy.
Yeah. So, what was the most beautiful scenery bit for you on Hell?
Sunrises.
Yeah.
I had a couple of sunrises on the Sunday morning. I think I was approaching. I was stopped at a little cafe place before I went up to Newlands, and I got some food. It was just before Newlands, and as I was riding along, I looked up, and it was just pink. A sort of pink sunrise, and it was just absolutely stunning. The other nice bit was, well, it's like a bit perverse, but Honister.
Yeah.
It was heaving it down with rain. You know what I mean? And I could see cars struggling at top, and I'm thinking I'm going up there, but it was that like. It's almost like something out of Mordor, but it was beautiful. You know what I mean? It was dark, it was nasty, it was oofing down, black clouds everywhere, and I'm thinking I've got to go up there. And it was like, you know what I mean? But it was beautiful. If you know what I mean, it was perversely beautiful. I don't know if it's like fatigue kicking in and I'd lost the plot light, you know, but it was. But the sunrises in mornings, they were stunning.
Yeah.
You know.
And you'd definitely recommend people to kind of ride through the night rather than losing time in a bed and breakfast?
Yeah, I would, because it's doable. You know, I had an hour in Pooley Bridge, and I only stopped then because the roadworks just threw me completely. I didn't know how to get. I knew I had to go across the bridge, but I didn't realise that there was a little pedestrian bit that you could go along, so I was riding up and down for about half an hour. And then I just thought, right, just sit down, have something to eat.
There is a mandatory 3-hour rest on the ride in the event, which I know you actually rode it as a DIY, so that is. But in the actual event, there is a 3-hour rest. Yeah. But it's mostly that.
Well, I did have about 2 hours in a bus stop in Langwatherby.
Yeah. It's mostly because of the descending more than the climbing, just for the safety. Because
well, I'm on brakes all the time.
Yeah.
Makes sense anyway. 'Cause I'm a pussy.
Yeah. And then, well, even John, when he managed it in October in the storm, well, I think he had about an 8-hour rest, didn't he, at the bed and breakfast with his tea, and then he sort of felt like 8 o'clock in the morning after that. But yeah, that was a heroic effort.
Oh, that was that. Because again, he's experienced in all kinds of mad stuff, innit, John? You know what I mean? And after he'd done that, I had crazy respect. But when I saw his post when I got home after I'd scratched, that he'd got an hotel, getting an hotel hadn't even entered my brain.
Yeah.
On that ride, because I had a plan. This is my plan. This is what I'm doing. And because I couldn't do it, I just thought,
I can't do it.
I'm done. You know.
Yeah.
So again, that taught me something, to be a bit more flexible in my approach, like, you know what I mean? Because when I saw John done it, and when he got on the next day and completed it, I was just like, wow, that fella's got big balls. You know what I mean? He's strong, super strong. You know, because again, I was all right riding, but it was just cold. I just couldn't get rid of the cold, and after that I bought a Gabba. And now I ride for all now. I've got my Gabba now, you know what I mean? So I'll ride for anything.
Is there anything you've done to change your approach? Because you're riding it again in May, aren't you? Which by the time this video goes out will be next month. Is there anything you're changing to your approach for this time compared to next time? I know the route is different because you're now doing it backwards, and there's only 1 or 2 climb differences really. The start is different now, it goes over the Cross of Greet rather than doing Jubilee and the Trough. And then there's only a few dynos for safety that have changed, but on the whole it is exactly the same route as last time. But is there anything different though that you would do as a cyclist to your approach? Maybe your equipment or
I'm going to go lighter.
Yeah. But the weather's going to be nicer, hopefully, with it being May.
Because last time I had handlebar bag, seat bag, under top tube bag, stem bag, rucksack, like Sherpa tensing on a bike, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go lighter this time, only a little bit, you know, because I know this time I won't definitely need my sleeping bag. I won't be taking that. I'll just have my foil blankets and my tracky pants like that. I might go a bit harder on climbs. Might. It all depends on how your legs are on day, doesn't it? But you know, because I was very conservative on the climbs. You know, I didn't. Usually when I go, you know, I try and give it some beans, but because I kept having it back in my well, I know that Dan's going to put another one as soon as I've got to the bottom of this descent. There's going to be another dirty climb, and then there's dirty cobbles in Haworth that just. There's just no need for it. You know what I mean?
It's a law. If you're going to Haworth, it's a law. You have to do the cobbles.
Well, the second time round, it was a lovely Saturday afternoon, and the street was absolutely heaving, and I'm going up there, dinging my bell, trying to get people out of the way. It was a nightmare. It was worse the second time. You know, the first time was bad enough, but the second time was...
Well, you'd be bombing down them this time.
So, it'd be a bit better.
Yeah, you'd be looking like a cyclocross racer going down the cobbles.
Yeah, but me training, I'm doing exactly the same, really, with training. You know what I mean? Except I'm probably doing a little bit more climbing on my training, but that's with a view to furthering year as well. Like, so. But my approach is pretty much just going to be ride, eat, ride and eat and drink.
Ride, eat and drink.
And sing a lot of songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what gets you through it. You know, so.
Cool. So, cool. And yeah, your gearing, what's your bottom gear on your bike?
Oh, on there I've got 34 on back. I think it's 1134 on back. The front, I think it's 4632.
Right.
Or 4634. I think it's 4634 because it's 1-to-1.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's nanny granny gears. So it's easy. Because on me, I ride a fair bit on Zwift and that, and my bike on that is a 52 on front and a 28 on back, and I go stupid hills on that.
Right.
Zwift and RGT. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah. And will you be having the same fat tyres that you've got on your bike?
32 Panaracer Pacellas,
Or will you be going a bit skinnier for health?
No, well, I almost thought about doing it on me Monda.
Right.
Which is, it's an ALR, it's not carbon, I won't ride carbon, but yeah. But it's like 5 kilos lighter than that. Which will make a difference.
But
I'm into my disc brakes now, that's got rim brakes. And again on the first one, with the rain, there were a couple of descents where I was aquaplaning and I was thinking if I want rim brakes here I'd be down, no problem, you know. So, and I just love sitting on that bike, I just love it, you know, it's just so comfy.
It's worth carrying that extra 5 kilograms for.
You just get it in your legs, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just work harder. So,
yeah.
But no, I'm looking forward to it.
So, why don't you tell everybody about last October and your first attempt at Hell of the Northwest?
Well, it started off, I had to ride to Green Jersey, which is a nice little ride for me. It's about 20 mile, you know what I mean? So it got me nice and warm. I did the sign-in, you know, all that. The first thing that I encountered with Team Forgot Your Bags.
Yes.
Now, when you said, oh, these two lads are setting off now, and I went outside, I'm looking at the bikes and I'm thinking, well, what ride are they doing? Because they're not doing the same ride as me. You know, I'm looking at my bike, I'm thinking, well, I'm all bagged up here, like, you know, and they've just got seat packs with spare tubes in, nothing else. And I thought, they must be quick, them two, because if they're just riding like that, they've got an hotel somewhere and they're going to just be full gas, you know. And I thought, wow. And then setting off, I was really thirsty that day, so I stopped way too much. I was really thirsty, but I did discover Colfie ice in Keighley at some kebab shop. It's like an ice pop made out of Colfie, the Indian sweet, and it was fantastic, so I got a few of them. But anyway, yeah, I was alright until I loved, my favourite bit on that ride was the climb out of Hebden Bridge.
Yes.
Beautiful. You just tap it out, lovely river, all the way. It was beautiful one of my, climb. You know what I mean?
That and the climb and the road from Bacup to Todmorden, the whole road, the climb and
Cold
the
Clough
descent.
from other side. Yeah.
But the descent into Todmorden as well, I absolutely adore that descent.
So,
and then, the Haworth Moor is such a beautiful climb.
And I've never done it before. I've done quite a bit round Hebden Bridge.
It goes on for a long time. It drags on a bit offensively long, but in a nice way.
Yeah. Well, I was just loving it. I was just going up there singing away. It was dark. I got to Malham, fine, and I thought, right, I'll sit down, have a bit of a break. You know what I mean? So I got in next to toilets. This is a good story for anyone watching this. A top tip. I sat down round a bit of a wall because it was windy. So I'm sat down there and I'm just having something to eat. You know, wrap my foil blanket round me. 40 minutes. So, right, time to get going. So I gets up to get going. It had been freezing with this wind. It was cold. It just started drizzling. So I thought, right, I'll set off. And then just as I was setting off, I went, I'll just see if doors open. The toilet door had been open all the time and I've been sat out in cold. So always check toilet doors, people. You know what I mean? So yeah, and then I set off from there and it started raining. The further up the climb I got, the heavier the rain went. And then I got to the top and it was freezing. It was blowing, it was cold, it was almost horizontal rain. But I'm thinking this will pass. But it didn't. And it just carried on. And through Kettlewell, absolutely. By Kettlewell I was drenched. Absolutely drenched. You know what I mean? So I stopped, put on my waterproof pants, got back on, carried on going. And then that climb up there just seemed to go on forever. And sun didn't seem to be coming up. You know what I mean? I'm thinking it's like 6 o'clock now, surely. You know, sun should be coming up. Nothing. And then on that descent from there, that's where I first aquaplaned and like
into Hawes.
Wet my pants because I thought I'm coming off here. You know what I mean? Anyway, I managed to keep it upright because my good friend John has this good saying: don't hit the brakes because momentum is your friend. Now, momentum never tends to be my friend on descents, but you know, he swears by it. So I didn't touch my brakes. I just like panicked, you know. And then it just carried on raining, and it was just getting colder. And then it was, what was the castle?
Bolton Castle.
Bolton Castle. There was a bus on Main Road just before you turn left to go up to it. There was like a little bus shelter there. I got completely undressed at about 8 o'clock in the morning. Completely undressed. Put all my dry kit on. You know what I mean? Set off again, and within a couple of hours, just soaked at bone again. And you just couldn't get warm. That was the thing, because you get warm going up, and you'd be like, ah yeah, buzzing, I'm warm, I can feel my toes, I can feel my fingers. And then you'd descend, and by the time you got to the bottom of the descent, you'd be chilled to bone. And that just carried on and on and on. And then, where was it? Crosby, Ravensworth?
Yes.
Yeah, I got to there, and my Garmin kept freezing. So if say I'd be alright, and then I'd be going down road, and then I'd just look down, it'd say off course, and I was like, what? So I kept having to double back on myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And stopping, and tapping it, and trying to get my phone out to get a signal to see on Google Maps. Well, that was just getting me colder and colder and colder.
I'm frustrated.
And by the time I got to Crosby Ravensworth, I was thinking, right, I think it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. We were following your dot very... Well, I was following everybody intensely, to be honest, during
And I was thinking to myself, I've got another few hours of this in daylight, and then I've got to ride through night, and by the time it's night time and it's cold again, I'm going to be hitting passes, so it's going to be uber cold, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the time, I'm stood there and I was just physically just shaking, and I just couldn't get warm. So I thought, right, I need to decide what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to pull a plug. So again, I had something to eat, because again, fatigue makes your brain go wonky like, you know what I mean? So I had something to eat, thought about it a bit, rang my dad, you know what I mean, what do you think? And he's like, well, is it worth, you know, he said weather forecast ain't looking any better, you know, is it worth getting hypothermia for? And I was like, well, maybe, you know, but unfortunately I had to pull the plug. So I thought, right, I'll ride to Kendal from here rather than go that way. I'll go to Kendal. So I got to Kendal. When I got to the station, team forgot your bags were already sat on platform like that, freezing to death. Look, the hands, one, I can't remember which one that lad, he went like that, he went, look, and I went and he said they'd been like that since Tan Hill, and I was like, oh, Lord have mercy. I said, you've done right thing, fellas. You know what I mean? And there, I mean, I was feeling bad. You know, I was feeling rough. I had my waterproof pants were that sodden. If I stood out at the saddle, they slid down my legs, and then I couldn't sit down on the seat because the
chamois was so.
Well, no, the girth on the pants, because they dropped down that low, I couldn't get back on the seat. So I'd be stood up riding, trying to pull my pants up before I could sit down, and it was just a nightmare. But like I say, team forgot your bags. Is it the Wicks brothers?
Wikes.
The Wikes brothers, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I was bad, but they looked rough, and I mean proper rough, you know. So yeah, and then we got on train, and thankfully we all managed to get on with bikes, and they went and sat down and that. But yeah, and then I got home and I was mortified with myself, absolutely mortified, because I can't abide getting off on a climb. So to scratch from an event, the only thing I've ever scratched that with TCR, which weren't my fault.
Yeah, and Hell of the Northwest.
And Hell of the Northwest, so I was gutted. So that's when I thought, right, I couldn't do it the following weekend because I had my kids.
Yeah.
So Moses and Betty they didn't want me to do it anyway, because they were like, no, Dad, we know what you're like, you'll crash. You know what I mean? So I thought, right, the weekend after, I'm going again, DIY style. So and it was great, loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely loved it, which is hence why I've signed up to do it again.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great to have a veteran on board as well of the event. You know.
Is John doing it this year? No.
No, he wants to do Hell of the Dirty instead.
Right.
But it's between that and a running event, I think.
Yeah, because he does loads of mad stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I looked on his Facebook, and I saw his profile, clicked on it, and I saw some of the stuff he did. I was like, that's why he managed to survive that first one, because he's obviously experienced at doing insane stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and he's obviously mentally tuned in, you know. So, because again, that's fatigue. When I got to Ambleside, I got in one-way system,
Yeah.
And you had to go through that thingy
I have
part,
to
didn't
send
you?
you. Well, it was a nightmare.
It was
plotting the route through Ambleside and using the mapping software. In the rider's notes, the only exception I'm going to make for going off course this year is Keswick and Ambleside, because of the one-way systems going through the towns. It's like, and I know you're going to have to stock up on fuel, so it's like, look, you're going through the towns, you've got to go through the towns to get from one side of it to carry on riding through. So, you know, because you're going to be going down Hollister Pass through. Yeah, you're doing it that way this time, aren't you?
Going up through Seatoller and that way,
Yeah, because you're going down the struggle into Ambleside this time, aren't you? So you've got to get from Ambleside, well, down the struggle, through Ambleside, and that's where you're going to stock up on fuel, because you've got a long way to go then. Well, you've got Hawkshead for fuel if you need it, but then to carry on riding. So them two towns, they will have a kind of, if you go off course, you go off course kind of rule.
Well, when I hit Ambleside, it was about 6 in the morning when I hit there.
Yeah.
And I went out one way, and it was like that, the recreation part we had to go through.
Yeah.
But it was all chained up.
Right.
So I'm riding up to it, and I've only had 45 an hour's rest at Pooley Bridge by this point. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, so I rides back round. I thought there must be a way. It must be me being an idiot. So I was literally riding round Ambleside like a nut. And then I saw Tesco's were open. I went, "Are you open?" "No, we don't open till 7. I was like, so I ate rest of my food that I had. My Garmin froze again, and it just wouldn't do anything. I was like, you know. Anyway, Tesco's open, went back, ate all my food, went back, right, get on, where are you on course? I'm on course here, right, on course. Gets to them gates, I'm thinking, but then 50 yards down road, that way, on one-way system, there's the one-way road coming up that you can only, and it didn't even occur to me, just get on footpath there and ride down, because my head was just so fatigued and it had just mashed me up. So, and then I thought, why did you do that, you idiot? You've just wasted an hour and a half of your time.
That's going to be some advice for the riders.
Yeah, because because again, when I read John's race report about the hallucinations, I've had them previously when I've done long stuff, but I didn't have them this time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The hallucinations I got, like, it followed me all the way around All Points North, and I was very tired because the night before that little guy wasn't very well, so being up kind of seeing to him, so I'd already had like a 36-hour day by the time we set off on All Points North. One of the best bits of training, like working the NHS, is that. And there was these two cyclists just chatting away behind me. Yeah,
right.
They were just following me for quite a bit of the ride. No idea who they are, but you know, you could just hear two riders just approaching you like a chain gang almost, just on a fast social, and they're just chatting. I couldn't hear what they're saying. It's just an audible talking just behind me, completely random.
No way. It's wicked, isn't it? I mean, I buzz off it. I mean, when I had it previously on that Bispam Audax, and I'm riding along, and I could see a bloke crouched down in the middle of nowhere, crouched down at the side of the road, and I'm thinking, what's he doing? Weirdo. He's going to jump out on me or something. You know what I mean? And then I get up, and it was one of them black and white bollard things. You know, so I wasn't seeing stuff that weren't there, but stuff that I was seeing was something completely different. But on Ellet North, I didn't have any of that this time.
Right. Maybe you were concentrating too much on the dynos for it.
Well, I was proper tuned in. I was focused on what I was
doing. So making sure you know your GPS works and you know it works very well. Studying the route.
Yeah.
So you know you've got your cue card, so you know where you're heading to
towns.
Keep on course.
I always look at town because you always see a sign with a town.
Yeah.
So if you note down what towns you're going to be going near or through, you know
you're heading in the right direction. Yeah.
You know, so that's always a good one, like.
And don't beat yourself up too much on the climbs. Just
tap it out.
Tap it out.
But some of them, like I say, you've no choice but to get out at saddle and give it some grunt.
Otherwise, or stop and have something to eat.
Yeah, but don't get off if you don't have. And that's one thing I was proud of. I didn't have to get off.
Yeah, this birdie very right at the end. Last climb on this ride.
Best climb in Britain. Ask Hugh Carthy.
Yeah.
He said that on one of his interviews, didn't he? He said Birdie Brow's his favourite climb in UK.
Right.
I was like,
and Bradley Wiggins' favourite climb is the third climb on the ride.
Is it?
It's Cross the Great.
Is it?
Yeah.
No
That's
way.
probably, well, actually, there's quite a few lumps before Cross the
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, out of Slaben's harder than Cross the Great for me.
Yeah, and going out of Bolton by Bowling, that's a bit of a
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little dig in there.
yeah 14% little dig there.
But
so
we
yeah.
love double digits, Dan. That's why you did Hell of the Northwest.
Oh, I tell you, it's the only event I've done that has genuinely scared me after I created it.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not surprised.
yeah, yeah. No, it genuinely has, and I still have to write this thing. Yeah,
You'll enjoy it.
Oh no, I've no doubt. Like
Love it.
I didn't make something for it to be awful, you know, and I tried to make it flow as nice and naturally as possible.
It honestly, when I rode it the second time, managed to get round. It was a great ride. The last bit did me in. Like I say, after Ingleton Falls, I was thinking, there's enough now. I've done enough climbing now. I don't need to do any more. Boom, little, like it'd be like 100 metres, but at 18% or something. You know what I mean? I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
You know. But again, the running, Jubilee, Trough, Waddy, it's part of my training rides that I do. So you know, I was happy doing them.
The big thing I tried to do was, because you know, like the thread does it, but I tried not to squiggle around areas, so I wouldn't make you turn left off a road, go and do like a fell to come back up 500 yards down that same road, because for me that, if you're on the thread and it's a day ride, it's okay, but if you're on a ride like Hell of the Northwest, you have to feel all the time like you're heading towards a destination. I think the only exceptions to that is Honister Pass, Newland, Windletter. Them three hills, one after the other, but I don't think you could do one without doing the other two there.
And Windletter's easy, to be fair, isn't it?
Yes. Either side, it's not too bad a climb.
But I mean, I've not done Newlands from that. Newlands is like a wall at the top from the side that we did it last year.
You did it from
Honister.
Did you do it from Buttermere or Keswick side? No, you did it from Keswick side, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a nasty.
It's just.
It doesn't start that climb.
Yeah.
It's a false climb for quite a few miles, and your legs are getting tired, and you think, this is only flat. Why am I getting tired? And you don't realise you've got
bang right at top.
Yeah.
I mean, on Fred Whitton, Newlands is always the one that I don't like.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know whether it's because it's just after a feed station and you've stopped to something. You know what I mean? But when I get on, I'm always like, Honister's easy, Hard Knot's easy, Rhinos is easy, but Newlands always kicks me in balls.
It's that little spike, but it's a beautiful downhill, that one.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely.
Yeah, you'll be doing it the opposite way this year.
The way I don't like. Thanks.
It's a long, steady climb this time round. So, but no, best of luck to you. You know, riding the event.
I'm looking forward to it.
We will be following you with the camera.
Yeah, the dot will be on. Spot the dog.
Yeah,
the tracker will be on. So,
the spot will be on. Hopefully you'll be uploading photos this time round and enjoying it. We'll be sharing the photos on social media, and we'll be also getting some great drone footage and ground video footage as well for you all. So no, really looking forward to it.
Have to get some requests written down for any songs.
You could be singing to us as we catch you at the top of some coals. We're going to call them. Shall we call them coals? They're pretty brutal, aren't they? Yeah.
They're not long, but
my God, they're tough. I think it's totally different climbing though, the north of England to other places. The roads aren't as smooth.
The roads are disgusting.
Yeah.
It all adds to it, doesn't it?
Adds
to the fun.
Yeah, you know, if you rode this in the Alps, you wouldn't even have to look for potholes, wouldn't you? You could just do it on a race bike. Yeah. But no, here you've got to have fat tyres on.
Yeah, comfort as well. That's a good. Make sure you're comfy on bike. You know what I mean? So drop tyre pressure a bit. Get some fatter tyres on, a little bit fatter.
Aero bars?
Definitely, but not at night. If you're tired and you're going aero bars, you'll nod off.
How did you find though? Because there's a lot of climbing, but was there enough flat bits for you to get in the aero bars?
Yeah, because I'd do it as a matter of course. As soon as I got onto a flat bit of road, I just to change my position, comfy, let my hands have a break. Because again, I don't wear gloves. I don't like padded gloves. Waste of time. So.
Did you wear them you wore them when it was cold though, I'm guessing?
Only my little thin rab merino things.
Right. Even when it was chucking it down.
Yeah.
Right.
Because once your hands are wet and cold, there's no coming back. So there's no point having big, spongy, heavy, wet, horrible gloves on. You might as well just have cold hands. I might get some of them. I've seen Velators gloves. But they're quite pricey though.
Does Endura do?
Or
Endura do some?
Rubber gloves.
No, the wetsuit neoprene
yeah.
gloves, which have your hands stink after wearing them,
Yeah.
but they do keep warm when it's that offensive cold wet.
Yeah. But I might just get some marigolds.
Yeah.
Marigolds with some liner gloves in. Pink marigolds.
You never
G-Raw.
know. I was honestly expecting somebody to be wearing that during the weekend. Genuinely was.
Yeah.
Expecting to call into Spa, pick up some marigolds,
Yeah.
and be having these. And you would have had good visibility with big yellow gloves on.
Well, I might do it this time. Just
pack a
to
pair.
test it out, just
Pack
in
a pair.
case. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they don't weigh much.
And if we're going past Keighley again, Colfie Ice, I can't remember, Mango something, the kebab house was. It's on the corner, just before you turned off. Colfie Ice.
Near the end as well. Bit of energy before you do Haworth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much for coming down and taking the time.
And thank you for putting events on again this year.
Oh, it's. I think it's in the.
People are going to look. There's quite a few people on it again this year.
Yes. Well, we've got all the people that actually paid me money in 2019.
They're all
that
doing
still
it this
got
year.
to yeah.
Wicked.
Yeah. Well, if they're not riding it this year, it's because they're not riding the event. I think we're at that point in the event organisation now. But no, thank you very much for coming down. And best of luck to you riding Hell of the Northwest.
Yeah. Peace and love.
Thank you.